Fascinating stuff. And so, in terms of some of the results of this kind of stuff, because obviously we worked together. We were in Lublin when we first worked together, and you were doing some approaching, and you met. So, well, you met a couple of different women there, but one in particular. And using this sort of template, can you describe what the effect of this is when you're doing this correctly on the women you're interacting with?
Well, the effect is like she wants to have that kind of feeling again. It's like, wow, that guy wanted to know stuff about me. And not only this, but I just have a genuinely good feeling about him. I mean, and because she doesn't understand that you and her were talking about her. She would just have a great feeling like that guy was just so interesting, and we had so much fun, and I want to have that fun again. I want to have that kind of feeling again. Because how did you feel in that role play when we spoke about this one?
I have to admit that even in a role play situation, when you start to talk about yourself and you start to hit on things that actually you genuinely are passionate about, it does give you a good feeling. It does give you a good buzz. So I can imagine from the female's point of view.
In the polarization sense as well. Like, I'm a man that really like you as a woman. You can just imagine how effective it is.
Yeah.
And trust me, for an untrained eye, they feel like nothing really happened. But for a trained eye, everybody will see that this is sort of things that actually create connection for sure.
I've got actually just one question. You talked about free association earlier, and sometimes when I'm in a conversation, I will, and I don't know if this is quite what you mean by free association, but sometimes I like the conversation to be reasonably open to me going off at a tangent, and sometimes she'll say something, and it will spark off something. Like, maybe a very obvious example would be she'll mention a city or a country and I've been there. I'll be like, oh wow, I've been there, and then I will tell a story, but it's coming from a genuine place. Or like she'll mention, I don't know, a book or something, and it just happens that I've been reading that book recently, and then there is a genuine connection there, and then I'll just almost cut the thread and start talking about that thing. And often what I find is, in some of my better interactions, actually just going on a limb and going with something that you're like, damn, this is an association that I can talk about. Exactly. Going with that's when it actually comes to life.
So in my coming work here now, I'm actually going to place the conversation into 3 phases. And those 3 phases is like, the first is like the ritual opening, and the close-ended question, or what I used to call the setup question. The second phase of the conversation structure is basically where where she's actually explaining to you about what she thinks about things.
Yes.
Like her opinion about things. Oh, I think this is good because of this, and I like this one because of this. So it's like you want her opinion and why she thinks like this.
Yeah.
And then you want to keep this phase 2 for quite some time, and then we have the phase 3. What you were talking about now is like, okay, so now we're going to take the conversation into personal mode and gravitate towards common interest. And that is when something magical is happening. Then it's like that is when the body language, the how you say things, not only what you're saying, is actually getting connected with you and her in the bonding sense.
Well, one of the best interactions I had here when we were here before, when we were in Gdansk, was with a girl, and it turned out that she was a politics student, political science student, and at the time, it was just when Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister in the UK, had been forced to resign. The news had just broken. So I just kind of, and she was from Belarus, so we talked a little bit about her country, and then I just threw in saying, oh, there's a lot of stuff happening in my country at the moment with London. And she started, oh yeah, I've heard about Boris Johnson. And we started talking about that. Now, I wouldn't for 1 minute, you wouldn't write in a textbook, go, oh, if you want to get the girls, then start talking about Boris Johnson or start talking about politics, because in a way often it's the kiss of death. But with her, it was something she was genuinely interested in, and I was quite interested in as well, and that's where the conversation really started to, it was no longer me trying to do an approach. It was just a genuine conversation, and that's when you get that real rapport between the 2 people. You understand what I mean?
Absolutely, I understand absolutely. I mean, not be able to speak about certain topics, like, oh, you cannot speak about politics, you cannot speak about jobs, is just a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to speak about things that you both find interesting.
Yes.
You know, but you have to speak it in a way of empathy, from an empathetic standpoint. Like, okay, we are not really judging each other. I just want to see how you think from your perspective, how your perspective looks like, and I think that is very, very important, actually.
Yeah.
So there is no like really no-go areas. If you both are interested into it, I think it can
Yeah.
lead to something really good, actually.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's also a little bit sometimes about taking a bit of a risk in the conversation. Like sometimes you can just think she'll say something and it will suggest something to you, and sometimes I find, okay, I'm just gonna go with this and see what happens. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't hit, and then you can pull it back to something else. But other times it really does.
We can try to make a role play there as well.
Yeah.
But we're talking about let's say there is a political event, okay? So you're the hot girl again,
Yeah.
and then I'm going up to you, and then I'm saying again, like, excuse me, I don't normally do this, but I think you look really nice. I just had to come and say hi. I'm Michael. Troy. Okay, Troy, nice to meet you. So tell me, I mean, a lot of things going on here in the city, and I must say that I find it really interesting because it's some kind of a political atmosphere here. So what do you think about this event?
Well, you know, it's just a very crazy time in the country. There's been a big demonstration out today, loads of people out and about, and yeah, it's just a very strange time for the country. You know.
But when you say crazy times, is it more like crazy times from your perspective, or just in objective sense?
Well, I think from my perspective, from everyone's perspective, really, it's just that, you know, there's a lot of upheaval going on in the country at the moment, and you know, I think everyone's feeling that.
Okay, so what I can feel a little bit like you want changes. Is that the vibe I get from you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've all wanted change for a long time, and it seems like now finally that might be about to happen. So it's, you know, it's a good day.
Okay, so I can definitely feel like people are very excited here, and you are quite excited as well. If exciting is the right word, I mean, something is still happening, and I can feel a little bit like you're quite passionate about things that are happening right now, even though it might not be towards your views and your values, but you're still excited that some change might happening today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty optimistic, actually. I'm hopeful things are going to turn out
Optimist?
well.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? We are quite similar here because I believe in optimism. I mean, why should we actually believe in pessimism, for example? Like, we think that the worst thing can happen. So
Yeah.
I really like when people are optimistic, as you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, we are quite similar. I like that. So tell me about this kind of political scenes. Is that something that always be interesting to you?
Well, I mean, I'm not massively into politics really, but this is just such a big day for the country that I feel like it's, you know, you can't ignore it, you know. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping that things are going to turn out for the best.
Okay, I can definitely feel a little bit like you are a person that, you know, thinks a lot.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Because most of the time when I, you know, like talk with people, you know, like in the political scene or something, they're not really interested. But in some way, I feel like you're very interested in this one, and that it just tells me that you are connecting your brain with your heart in a compassionate sense. Is that any truth in it?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I just care about the country really, so you know, that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
But how is it when it comes to your friends and the close ones? Are you feeling a little bit like you are connecting them into today's event, or just thinking as a country as a whole? You get my point?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got different friends. They think differently about this stuff, but I think he's pulling everyone together as a community today for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I can see where you're coming from. Exactly. So, out of curiosity, I mean, okay, so you're here in the political event, and a lot of things are happening and this kind of thing. But out of curiosity, I mean, are you a person that works with people, or are you sitting in front of a computer screen, basically? Because I feel like you're this kind of people person.
Yeah,
since you're here.
I work actually as I train people, so I do work with people.
You're helping people.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that something you always like to do, helping people? Is that like one of your first priorities that come into your mind when it comes to like having a passion for work or doing something meaningful?
Yeah, I think if you're helping people, I think that gives meaning to your life is just such a key thing for me, definitely.
To make something meaningful.
Yeah,
And meaningful means a lot to you.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
okay.
It
Okay,
does.
I get it. I find it really attractive when people are compassionate about others, have empathy, and
Yeah.
really focusing about not only themselves but the better for other people. So
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
see that you're quite attractive because you are that kind of person, I think. Really. For me myself, I mean, I'm also a very compassionate person. I mean, for my line of work, I mean, I'm a dentist, and I'm doing it not because of career, but I'm doing it more because I like helping people.
Okay.
That's what I
yeah.
do. So
Nice.
if I understood you correctly, you also chose your line of work because you want to help people. But let
Yeah.
me guess. Let me just figure out what you're actually doing. I think that you are a psychologist.
Yeah, close. I'm a child psychologist.
Okay. You are.
Child.
Oh, child
psychologist.
psychologist. Oh, okay. Children. So tell me. Yeah. So tell me now, Troy. Tell me. When it comes to the psychology and the empathy from a child compared with adults, what would you say about this one?